Hi, this is Saad from RentViewer, and in this video we're going to be answering the question, are we staying within budget? This video is part of a series for applying data analytics to a manufactured housing portfolio, and the ideas we're going to cover are based on the framework described in the Manufactured Housing Performance Playbook. The visualizations and the data models that you'll see have been built using the RentViewer Asset Management Studio. So to answer the question, are we staying within budget, we're going to be looking at these visualizations. So if you've seen my other videos, you know I make a big deal about setting budgets and targets. Because budgeting helps you avoid crises, and crises like running out of cash, or having to cancel distributions, or making capital calls. Creating a budget forces you to think ahead about what is likely to happen. And there are two parts to the budgeting process. Setting the budget, where you estimate what the future expenses and the corresponding income, NOI, and cash flow that you'll be able to generate if you make those expenditures. And then the other important part of the budgeting process is actually looking at budget variances and being able to explain them. Explaining budget variances, the difference between actual and budget, really leads to a much deeper understanding about the capabilities of your team, the condition of your properties, and the overall dynamics in your market. Having a good budgeting process and the tools to drive your budgeting process enables you to give much better guidance. And the visualizations that you'll see here have been designed to help you do that. Most property management systems allow you to store budgets for financial line items. But what about non-financial line items? Things such as your target for physical occupancy, or your target for how many new leases that you'll be signing, or your work order completion rate, your lease renewal rate, or your collection velocity. There's no place in the property management system to store those. However, if you're using the Asset Management Studio, you can store targets for non-financial line items and then be able to compare the actual performance with what your target was. So let's go to the demo. I like to start with a financial snapshot and look month by month, and specifically at the month that just closed. So here I can see the actual versus budget performance for the specific line items that I've selected and want to keep an eye on. So I can see over here that my rental income has been below a budget for the last couple months. Same as my total income. My expenses have been higher than budget over here. So this is giving me an idea that there are areas that I need to pay attention to. I can narrow this down to specific properties and see which properties might be driving this. So for example, here I can see that the total expenses for this particular property have been much higher than what the budget was. So once I have this information, so this information is available on a month-by-month basis. And now I want to look at over extended period of time. This visualization enables me to look at the actual versus budget over a selected date range. So this is the cumulative amount that I am either above or below budget. And I can choose to look at expense or let's look at only the expenses for now. And I can see that, for example, my total property level expenses have been above budget. The orange line is the actual and the black line here is the budget, so I can quickly see where I'm over and under budget. Down below are the individual line items that correspond to the lines in the chart. So here too, I'm focusing on one particular property, and I can look at the overall portfolio as well and focus on the items that I want to pay attention to. This visualization is very similar to what we were just looking at, but over here I can see the individual properties that might be driving the variance and identify the ones that are causing the the overall portfolio budget variance. So all this is useful information at a high level, so I know what to drill into. So in order to figure out what's driving the variance in the budget, this visualization helps me look at individual transactions. So I can start over here for each of my GL accounts, this is telling me over time what the trend has been. And this is a continuous summation of the activity over time for a selected account. This section enables me to look at the year-over-year changes by month. And then down below are the individual transactions. So normally I would have to look at my individual transactions by running the general ledger report in order to understand if there are any unusual transactions that are driving the variance. This visualization provides me the same information. In fact, this is the general ledger data presented visually in different formats. And so this is one way to identify the drivers of budget variances without having to run lots of reports. So if I've concluded my rental income is low, I want to zero in on the state of my lots and homes and see why I'm not able to drive the rental income that I had budgeted and what I can do about it. So this visualization gives me an overall picture of my lots, my vacant lots, and then as well as how many units I have that are actually not ready or are not generating income. And I can look at this overall as well as look at specific properties and see what levers I have for improving my rental income. One last visualization I'm going to show you is the utility recapture. So here I'm actually showing you total utility income, expense, and my recapture rate. So over here I can see the data month by month as well as my recapture rate. And I can zero in on specific line items and see where I might not be recapturing all that I'm supposed to be. So as you can see, I have access to a large number of visualizations and different ways of looking at my data in order to understand what is driving budget variances and what action I need to take to get back on track. I hope this demo gave you ideas that you can apply to drive better financial outcomes, to implement a budgeting process, and be able to regularly review variances between actuals and budgets and make improvements accordingly. And you can download the Manufactured Housing Performance Playbook on our website at rentviewer.com/MH-playbook. This is Saad from RentViewer, and if you'd like to learn more about our asset management studio or some of our dashboards for manufactured housing, please get in touch.